The doctor is in. Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, the 14th of October. There is no one here with me, no one watching, and that is perfectly cool. I was just taking a break from working on my book, Pariah Blood and Mud, and thought I would pop in and take a break and just throw some thoughts out there. So there was a interesting thing that I've seen happen several times while I've been in someone else's chat. Well, I have been in someone else's chat or in a panel, and uh, I have been called a normie as opposed to "Hey, you nerds." Now, normally you would think, well, I guess that's a compliment. I'm not a nerd. I'm a normie, but I feel excluded. Why am I not a nerd? So here's the thing. I was going to talk about this just a little bit, and I've invited a few people to come. If they want to come, they can. If not, I get it. It's late. Um, if by normie they mean, I'm not a gamer. I don't follow geeks and gamers. I've never followed the fandom menace. I don't worship at the cult of EVS. I do watch his streams when I have the opportunity because they're amusing. I'm much more interested in the little guys, and I enjoy watching their channels. Having said that, I'm not a gamer, be that video games or desktop games. I just don't do it. However, nerddom. What could qualify me for nerddom? Um, I started reading comic books in 1974 or 5, I forget which, as in went and bought my own comic, or not bought, but picked out my own comic off the spinner racks, and fell in love with Marvel as opposed to DC because back then DC really wasn't much worth looking at. I didn't like Superman. Uh, how interesting is a character that can do everything is unbeatable, blah, blah, blah. However, I do understand the appeal now as a much older adult. Um, wasn't really into Batman, but man, the Avengers, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, I was blown away. Hank Pym, always loved all of the Hank Pym characters. Thought he was awesome. Uh, I remember I don't remember what year it came out. I think it was 78 or 9, maybe. Demon in a Bottle came out. It's a great storyline. And I was like, no, man, Iron Man can't be a drunk, blah, 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 blah. Well, my father was an addict. Now, he was what is called a high functioning addict in that his drug of choice was prescription pills. He could stagger around the house incoherent, out of his mind, crapping on himself when he was off. But then when it was time to work, he could put on his 3-piece suit or his coaching outfit. He was a very successful coach, and he could go to work and nobody knew. And so I didn't want Iron Man to be anything like that. But as a kid, it gave me hope. Maybe dad will get better because Iron Man got better. So as a kid, was I a geek? Yeah, I followed the Vision and Wanda falling in love, and I followed the Iron Man stuff with Demon in a Bottle and was hooked thereafter. I enjoyed Thor so much that the these and thous enabled me to read my Bible better, my King James version, because they spoke the same English. I remember the word puny when you see it written. I thought it was punny, so I would be reading it to myself and I hear the word punny, and the first time I hear puny spoken out loud, I had to make that adjustment. So that stands out in my mind from my childhood of reading comics. Um, I did like Kirby's work. I liked uh, John Romita Sr. I enjoyed his work very much. Stumbled across George Perez when he was climbing and then in his heyday, and absolutely loved his work. I still think he is the greatest of all time. Come at me. But other nerddom or geekdom. I was there when Star Wars came out. Um, my sisters went to go see Friday the 13th, the first one, and I went in to see Star Wars, and my brain melted. Now, I was already a Star Trek geek. I never missed an episode. Um, I couldn't tell you how warp drive works, and I didn't know all the behind the scenes stuff, but I could tell you what an episode was within one or two beats. It was like name that tune. I could tell you which episode it was by the first second or two of the footage because I watched them over and over again. But when I went to go see Star Wars, that was just mind blowing. I mean, the scene that really did it for me was in the final battle of Yavin when the Millennium Falcon comes swooping in after you think Han has bailed. I, I'm like, I'm in. I love this. And back then there was no internet, there was no fan fiction, there was nothing to go along with it. So it was like we had to wait years for the next installment for The Empire Strikes Back. Good Lord have mercy, what a wait. Um, so yeah, geekdom. I watched Lost in Space. There was a magazine, I don't remember what it was called back then, but I would get a copy every time I saw it that had sci-fi stuff in it. That was Battlestar Galactica. It was Lost in Space, Star Trek, Star Wars. I bought it. I devoured every article, the behind the scenes. I remember there was a article in a magazine about which bridge is the most realistic and possibly applicable to future space missions for NASA. And they reviewed the Enterprise bridge, the original Battlestar Galactica bridge, which I didn't really like. It just looked like a room, and the Jupiter 2. Loved it, devoured that article. Of course, they said the Star Trek bridge. Guy sits in the center and all the workstations are around him, view screen on the front. What's not to love? So I was all up into that. I had the toys when I was young. And then as an adult, I've told this before, in the 90s, uh, I started drawing comic books in the small press. I did Assassinate the Mindstalker for Pocket Change Comics. That one is still findable. I did 3 issues for them. I worked in some other little shit labels. There's nothing you're going to find or even would want to. And to be honest, I'm ashamed of the artwork because I could have done so much better. But I was not used to working against that gigantically hard deadline. Oh my God. Um, so much work, so little time. But I did those, and then during that time, I collected comics again. You guys that have thousands of comics will not be impressed, but I had one and a half of the banker's boxes, the comic book boxes, full of them. And let's see, I was collecting the Avengers back then. Steve Epting, Bob Harris, and Tom Palmer were doing the book, and I enjoyed it. The characters were really well drawn. The storyline was not as riveting as like the Korvac saga from back in the day, but it was pretty good. I was there when Venom popped out, so I had the first appearance of the Venom symbiote. I had Venom Lethal Protector when it came out. I think there was a gold variant and a red foil variant cover. I had those. Um, and I remember talking to my friends who were into comic books back then, and we all accurately predicted the fall, the slump that came thereafter. You could only print so many foil covers. You can only kill off so many characters. Image came around and Valiant came around at the same time. I did not collect either because I wasn't a fan of either. I was mainstream. I wanted my Marvel books. However, I remember that I just there were some of the artists for Image that I jokingly used to say the artwork looked like a pizza with everything on it. I was used to the George Perez clean lines. Even if you had 30 characters, you could see what everything was, and it was all the perspective was accurate. The characters were well executed. It wasn't a lot of tick lines and grimacing faces and whatever. It was just really, really good art. Of course, I also enjoyed John Byrne, and Steve Epting at that time in the 90s was doing a good job on those comics of staying in that style. It was modern, but it was clean. And I remember it was the padded armor, the pads and pouches and jackets. The X-Men had their leather jacket with an X on it. The Avengers had theirs with an A on it. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. So some of the characters I drew back then, they were wearing that same kind of stuff. I liked it. It was okay. But I never got into doing all the little tick mark hatching and a gun with 5,000 rounds, empty casings flying everywhere. Just didn't do that. If you're into that, that's cool. I have no problem with it. Just wasn't my thing. But it did. And by the way, I also collected and read Wizard. I had a letter published by Wizard. I think it was issue 75 with Magneto on the cover. And I was dogging out Todd McFarlane because I didn't like him. I didn't like his attitude. I didn't like his ego. He had a column called Ego, ironically. Didn't care for it. I didn't like Rob Liefeld's art at all. I thought Jim Lee was pretty darn good. I thought J. Scott Campbell was amazing when he came along. I did like McFarlane's artwork, just didn't care for his personality, let's say. So Image never really drew me in. Valiant, on the other hand, the stories were really good. I'd pick up an issue every now and then. Hey, Rosetta, how are you? Good to see you. Um, I read some of the stories; they were good, and that segued me into thinking about how desperately, Jim Shooter was not a popular man when he was the boss at Marvel, DC, or Valiant because he had a singular vision for how things should be. And he ruled with an iron fist, even over some of the big names back then. John Byrne, I remember, famously had some beef with him, and some of the other creators, I think Chris Claremont. But he had that singular vision, and he had a philosophy of tell good stories and tell them well. And I agreed with that so much. And now that, let me continue that thought. Shooter was called in twice by Marvel and once by DC, if I'm remembering correctly. Please feel free to fact check me and let me know. Both times they were bankrupting. They called in Jim Shooter and he pulled their bacon out of the fire. He streamlined them. He got them back on track editorially, and they would produce good work. I hear you, girl. That's why I'm streaming right now. The wife went to bed and I'm taking a break from drawing. So then they would let Jim Shooter go. He was almost like a General Patton. Patton was somebody you break out in case of war and then put him away. Nobody liked him personally. He was career damaging to be associated with, but he won battles. He would kick the shit out of the bad guys with no mercy whatsoever. He was always eager to do it. He was a bit eccentric, absolutely, but he got the job done. Jim Shooter is just such a person. Well, Jim Shooter, bless his heart, he's still alive now. He's out there doing some sort of indie project, if I'm not mistaken. But here's the thing. Oh, so I'm last place, Rosetta. Been searching all my friends for panels and couldn't find any. Sigh. Good to hear your voice at least. Okay, so I'm the last. I'm kidding. You're welcome here. But this is the thing. I brought this up in chat the other day, and most people agree. A couple of folks, they're like, screw Jim Shooter. Listen, if ever the mainstream comics needed a Jim Shooter, either him himself or someone much like him, can you think of a better person or personality type to walk into Marvel or DC editorial with a baseball bat and chase the SJWs out and say, folks, hell no, we're getting back to telling stories. Now, on the one hand, that'd be great as a fan of those characters. But on the other hand, we, the alternative, are becoming so successful. And I'm so proud of all my friends and associates that are just killing it in the indie press. We don't want Marvel and DC to do better. We don't want their sales to go up. We'll take the business. We'll produce good comics. I'm producing what I think is a great comic. If I didn't think it was great, I wouldn't do it. Well, Rosetta, you're sorting beads. I'll toss you the link, and you're welcome to jump in. I'm going to put the link in the chat. If anybody I don't know pops in, I'm just not going to let them in. Feel free to pop in. But then to wrap up my comments of what I was going to talk about, we did a thing, the wife and I. We've got the one Chihuahua. She's all that's left of the four dogs that we had. They've all died over time, and uh, we broke down and got another puppy. Her name is Moxie, and yeah, come on in. And Moxie is absolutely adorable. She's a mutt. She has the body of an English bulldog and the face of a Saint Bernard. I don't know what she is, but she's adorable. So she's a new addition to the family. She's still a baby, and so we welcomed her into the home last night. And she kept me awake a little bit whining, but not as bad as most do. So on that note, I'm going to introduce her to everybody on a different stream. Not tonight; she's sleeping. So Eagle Rider Rosetta, come on in.
Hey.
Hi.
No, it's like
Welcome.
if you actually look over there, you see all that stuff?
Uh-huh.
Those are all wrapped bead kits with everything inside them labeled, jarred, detailed, and ready to work on.
Gotcha.
That's what I've been doing the last few days, and I got a lot of it I'm doing on the table here, and a whole bunch that's still going to be arriving in the mail and boxes in the other room. So,
For jewelry making?
jewelry making, bead art. I'm going to do some flatbacks where I'm going to actually try to put my pinups onto the characters on the mats with the beads and stuff like that. So,
Gotcha. So like a mosaic?
kind of. I don't know if you know what diamond art is, where they do the little bead mats.
Mm-mm.
It
I might
is
know it if I saw it.
it's a cross point between like paint by number stuff and cross stitch, where it's these canvas glue mats where you're like doing an entire art piece by filling in little pixel sized dot
Oh, okay.
beads.
I've got you. When I was young, we had something similar. You had uh, the size of a ballpoint pen head, colored beads, and you would fill in these little metal stained glass looking things, melt it in the oven, and it made plastic stained
Yo,
glass.
I did those too. Yeah.
Yeah.
These ones, it's literally like you get like, and I have blank mats where I'm actually gonna be creating my own images and stuff. So that's the other thing. But you
Yeah.
get like things like this, and you literally every little piece, if you see close up, is
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
letters and symbols and stuff you have to fill in and detail.
Right on.
And so yeah, it's detail work,
Do you have a
but
finished
it's
one of those around you can show everybody?
on hand. No,
Okay.
because they're kind of in the other room. My
Okay.
husband still has to give me my meds in a few minutes, so when he comes out to do that, I'll see if he can bring me the wolf one I finished the other day.
Right on. Right on. Cool. Yeah, I have been pretty much nonstop drawing. I was hmm, initially when I announced I was going to be doing this book. I said, I'm used to doing a page a day when I do comic books. I can do a page a day, and I felt the same pressure from the '90s when I did comic books when I started this book. So I was doing a page a day. Then I realized I can slow down and really make every. So I can't remember who said it. I think it was Dan Fraga, who lives just up the road from me, by the way. Said, make
Name dropping.
absolutely make every panel a cover quality. And I thought, you know what, I can do that. I can take the time to do that. I'm not under any kind of clock. I haven't launched my campaign yet, so there's no rush. I can do this at my speed. I am still, when I'm grinding at it, doing about a page a day, but it's a longer day. Instead of an 8 hour day, it's a 12 to 14 hour day. And I'm enjoying it.
I had to wonder who was dumb enough to call you a normie, considering how long you've been in this.
Well, I was out of it for a long time, too. I mean, I'm a
Yeah,
retired
but
counselor.
being out of it doesn't mean that you quit caring about it or you've lost your cred what you did do.
I don't mind being called a normie. There was somebody in the chat, I don't remember who it was, Rosetta, but they said, hello, assholes, and Doc. So I was like, okay, at least I'm not an asshole, because I try very hard not to be. But yeah, I guess I don't have the cred because I don't know the YouTube community that well. I don't follow Geeks and Gamers or Fandom Menace or any of that crap. Don't know who those people are and don't care.
That's just not your thing. That doesn't mean that you're a normie.
I guess I'm a normie in the sense that I'm an old dude, very conservative. I am cancel proof because I'm retired. You can't take my job away from me. My home is paid for. You can't take that away from me. Uh, So yeah, and I'm good with that. Come at me.
So that's where I kind of go with people is I own this house and I work for myself. I
Yeah,
don't give a fuck what they say about me.
right, exactly. And
Oh,
and I
hun,
don't and I don't do
did you
beef.
bring me the wolf I finished the other day? And yes, I hear your stupid phone.
Sure.
Who's bugging you?
Me.
You dingbat. Bring me the wolf I finished.
Yeah, and I don't do beef, and I don't think that the blood sports and chat is fun or something to look forward to. It's annoying because I'm an old dude, and that sounds like little kids uh, pitching a fit on the playground. So I don't do that. Not interested in it.
Well, I usually laugh at them, but that's just because I'm sardonic, twisted bitch.
I usually just get bored with it and leave, unless somebody
Oh,
wants
that
me to
too.
leave. Then I
Like
just stay to be annoying.
I don't do that stuff on my channel because, quite frankly, I find most of it either pedantic, stupid, pathetic, childish, or honestly just assholic.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm
And
not
I have no interest in being any of those. Yeah,
same.
see, this is the recent piece finished, so
Okay. All right. So you're gonna frame that and hang it up?
yeah, that's gonna be a piece for my husband actually.
Very nice. Very nice.
So
Very cool. I
yeah,
imagine you could do that with metallics as well.
actually, I do have some crystals and metallics. And crap, I know where I can set this, hon. Rescue me!
If you look around my studio, there's not an inch of surface space anywhere to put anything. But this is my painting studio. So this over here, this is a custom bench that has all my paints, my solvents, my varnish, my finish, and other stuff. The painting station is directly behind me, and the desk that I'm sitting at was my counseling desk. And before that, it belonged to my father, and before that, my grandfather. So it ain't going nowhere, but it holds the computer, and that's it. There's no room for anything else at all. There's room for my coffee mug, though. Cheers.
I never understood why everybody loves coffee.
Because if God made anything better than coffee, he kept it to himself. That's why.
Everything better.
There's nothing
Ugh.
better.
Coffee is disgusting.
Even my dog agrees with me. She will come and try to drink coffee. When my wife and I got together, she did not drink coffee. She is now as addicted as I am. But
I can't. I have tried. Everybody always says, "Well, you haven't tried the right ones." It's like, believe me, I've tried every fancy little, everything everyone can come up with. They all taste like bitter freaking blah to me.
there is
Now
a
I love my teas, but coffees, I can't even stand the smell of them. They make me queasy.
there's a internationally ranked coffee house here in my small South Metro Atlanta town called Safe House Coffee Roasters. They've been reviewed in magazines around the world. The coffee comes to them directly from the farms. There's no middleman, there's no broker. They open the bag that the farmer sealed, they roast it there, and then they serve it to you. And I discovered Ethiopian coffees, which, by the way, is where coffee originated. And that coffee, with adding nothing to it, is sweet and has a berry floral taste to it. It is amazing. So I will call every Monday and say, any Ethiopian on bar? If they say yes, I would run out my pajamas to go get some. It is amazing. And
But
it is my
see,
favorite.
I figure either I'm completely crazy, which I'm not on this stuff, or there's something in the chemical build of coffee that reacts to my taste buds because
Quite
never
possibly.
tastes like anybody says. And no matter what they give me, it feels like I'm trying to drink the smell of freaking sweat socks in a gym.
Oh my God. Well, the other part of my coffee is this. I joined the Navy at 17 years old, and the Navy is not nuclear powered, it is coffee powered. And so you drink a lot of coffee in the military. And because I was in the Fleet Marine Force, the MRE instant coffee that came in the MREs, and before that, the CRATs, uh, we could not heat up water for it. So typically, you would just put it like a dip in your lip, and you would go for a 20-mile hump.
No, I mean
Dipping
I
your
know
instant
that is
coffee.
true. I've got a lot of military guys in the family, and I remember my brother, literally just like eating things like raw meats and chewing coffee beans and stuff because that's what you do when you're in the field and you're in a hurry.
It's a true story.
And it's
Now,
like, I don't care. I'm not doing it with you.
I was pretty ingenious though. I would smuggle in Snickers bars and cans of Vienna sausage or spam, and take that into the field with me, so I didn't have to just rely on the MREs. And I would carry
Anthony!
packets of the instant Gatorade and put it in my canteens. Hey, Anthony, man, good to see you, bud. You are welcome to
So,
pop in if you want. The link is in the chat. Matter of fact,
I'm,
let me pin it.
yeah. I'm still technically recovering from the beast thing here, which really ate a hole in the freaking arm because of the allergy to it.
Uh
And so I
huh.
can't use my left arm very well, which means I really can't draw for shit right now because I'm left-handed.
Mm
And so I was like, okay, well, I can't do this stuff. I can't even hardly do the beading on these things well right now because my hands are shaking every time I try to do the detail work.
hmm. Mm hmm.
But I can go through and I can clean this whole corner out and I can organize and sort all my beads for a week or two while my arm recovers. And that way, things are going to be so much cleaner and neater and ready to go when I get to the point where I can.
I'm going to show you guys something. Do, 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 do. Let me get a little second here. Oh, John Malin's on. I wonder if I can compete with that. I'm not
No, don't
interested.
try.
I'm not even remotely interested. Hey, I'm going to subscribe to myself. Do, do, do.
You know, when somebody says something like, I'm going to subscribe to myself, I just think of this really big, bloated head.
That's me. All right, let me come back here and share screen. And I'm doing this to address your issue. So here we go. See the title?
Mm.
Broken arm, painting left-handed. Now, you're not going to be able to hear the sound, but basically what I was saying was, I teach my students, it's not about what you do with your hands, it's about what you know and about what your experience. I broke my arm in 5 places, 2 in the elbow, 3 in the wrist. And I thought, well, hell, I'll put my money where my mouth is and I'll try. So I'm not going to play the whole video. But I get to the end of this thing. I did a tonalist piece because the impressionism was just too exhausting. But with my left hand, and then the closing commentary here about how hard it was, because it was. But yeah, with a broken arm, I had to paint left-handed.
I'm
Also,
just trying to imagine trying to use my bad arm when I already have nerve damage and shakes in both arms anyways, and I'm not supposed to be able to do this anyways.
right. Well,
Oh my god, that would suck. I would be ugly ass shit.
my thing was, I had several commissions when I broke my arm, so I stayed in the cast, and it was supposed to be a surgical repair, and I said, I can't do that. I don't have the recovery time. So I actually sawed my own cast off early, and I shouldn't have done it. I have a limited range of motion in my arm. I can't open it all the way or close it all the way, but I can still, by God, paint. But
I do dumbass shit like that when I'm in my photography mode.
well, see, I thought, it quit hurting in the cast. So I said, okay, that's good enough. I'll cut this thing off and I can paint. I've got to get these commissions out. That's how I pay the bills. So I cut it off and I discovered, holy shit, does it ever still hurt? So I had to wear one of those really expensive braces when I wasn't painting.
Okay, so I've got a little story.
Running updates on both PCs. All right, buddy. Well, just hang out with us. Glad to have you.
I've got a little story about my doing stupid shit for my artwork. Well, I've got a lot of them, but I'll stick to the one last year. So, well, me and my husband and Chris over at Real Review planned out, so we were going to go hang out at the zoo together for a day for my photography. A couple days before our anniversary, as part of our anniversary weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Made this whole plan, booked the hotels. Chris got days off. everything. We planned this out so we could have the entire day there at open till basically when they close it and do other stuff together, right?
Right.
About 3 days before we were supposed to head over to Kansas City, um, I was indisposed with my husband, and I ended up twisting wrong and breaking 3 toes and cracking the foot on the side of the bed while my um,
Now
I
you
had
you
multiple
were
breaks in the 3 small toes, and the bone was cracked slightly down the side of the foot, and the bone was bruised in several places, and the muscle was torn. This gives you a clue what I'm like, I guess.
so when you say I was indisposed, or you were pissed at your husband and you kicked him.
I was hanging upside down off the side of the bed, if that gives you a clue.
Okay, moving right along. Hi, James. Good to see you. Welcome. Always good to see a fellow
Anyway,
old Southerner.
so back to the rest of the story, not that part of the focus. But so we um we went anyway. I kind of downplayed how much my foot was injured to my husband at that point.
Uh huh.
And we went and did that, and we did the whole zoo thing together. Which, when you do the multiple loops and you keep having to go back to the joint point to go do the next loop and stuff, walking that whole zoo comes out to 7 some miles
Mm-hmm.
up and down hills through like jungle
Ooh.
like stuff in the middle of June, or early June, but June. Um, and I did this on that busted foot.
Oh yeah. That'll leave a bruise.
By the end of the day, when we went to go get food after we left the zoo, I was physically spasming every time I stepped.
Oh
But
yeah.
I fucking did it, and I got my photos for my work.
Yeah. I would be doing these commissions with my still broken arm and reach a point of fatigue with it, and literally holding the brush, my hand would just start vibrating, not shaking, vibrating. I'm like, okay, I need to stop. But I will say this: I finished all those commissions on time and delivered them and paid the bill. So woohoo! You
See,
got to do what you got to do sometimes. By the
I
way,
have,
speaking of, you got to do what you got to do.
mhm.
I just watched the first episode of Futurama, which I had never seen before, and that apparently was the saying of their economy. You got to do what you got to do. So there you go.
But I had this weird experience in a lot of ways because when it came down to dealing with my stuff, I have severe neurological issues, neuromuscular neurological conditions and stuff. And when my muscles flare, I'm not supposed to walk. I'm supposed to take muscle relaxers and be still. Now,
Hmm.
when most people say this, they're saying because it hurts. When I say this, it's because the neurological and neuromuscular issues I have, if I try to move while it's going on, can
Hmm.
literally rip my muscles apart inside.
Eek.
Yeah. So,
That's
um,
what we used to call in medicine ungood.
yeah. So, a couple years ago, me and my husband went back, and I told everybody, big deal for a few months, I'm going up Crazy Horse. Now, I take enough crap because I'm overweight and stuff, which I is not something I did to myself. I can't control, but people still talk. People are
Hmm.
assholes. Um, and it kept going like this for a while, and after a while, I told everybody I was going to do it. We got there to do it. It was a 1 day thing because the Volks March, when you get to hike up Crazy Horse Mountain, there's
Hmm.
3 days a year they do it. 2 days in June and 1 day in September.
And what state is this in?
It's Crazy Horse Monument in the Black Hills in South Dakota,
Okay.
where you can actually hike up and be up on the arm of the monument.
Hmm.
And this is September, so obviously it was the last one for the year. The morning it was supposed to happen was bad weather.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
when I woke up, I could barely move. I could feel spasms going up my legs.
Hmm.
I was determined I was going to do this anyways. So I acted like I really wasn't in pain.
Hmm.
And I blew it off like it was no big deal. And me and my husband went and did the hike because he didn't know how much pain I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the photos of me on the top of the monument after the 6 mile up the mountain hike.
Mm-hmm.
And then I collapsed onto the arm there, the rock on that we're on. Looked at my husband and said, "I can't get back down." And he went and got the staff to take me down in the van on the equipment route. Um,
Now, see, I'd have just left family up there. It's like, all right, well, cool. It's been nice knowing you. Enjoy your stay. I've got to go.
my
You
husband is not
kidding?
going
I would
to
listen. I
leave
would
me.
tough things out like that when I was younger. Now, at the age I am, uh, no, if something starts hurting, I'm done. I'm going to go sit down, enjoy some coffee, and watch some YouTube. Because YouTube, by the way, this is a topic I was going to cover to show my norminess. Um, I'm such a normie that YouTube is my TV. I don't watch television. I haven't watched television since the invention of the DVD because I'm a movie nut. But I
The only
could care
thing,
less about TV.
the only things
Um,
I actually watch on TV are things like Forged in Fire and stuff.
yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch accounts on YouTube, but I want to just highlight some of the stuff that a normie watches and subscribes to. so that's what am I gonna do? Let me get over here. Click on my subscriptions. So, and then I'm gonna share a screen. They make this so complicated. I should just be able to click share and it shares. But no, there's 3 or 4 more windows. All right. Allow. So then we go over here. These are my subscriptions. So I subscribe to Saggy, myself on Throwback, Narrowboat Tales. Okay, I'm all about narrowboating in England. Uh,
Where am I in this list?
I am subscribed to a lot of comic book creators. Well, by the way, share your stuff in the chat. Ethan, well read. Chip Channel Restorations. This guy restores old toys. There's literally no speaking in any of them. This guy just does this wonderful job of restoring all these beat up old Tonka toys. It is soothing. It's fascinating. I love to watch people who are good at something doing what they're good at. Drakenafel, naval historian. This guy may be one of the smartest people on earth. He will do, let me see if I can find one. He will do playlists. Here we go. Where are they at? Live streams. The dry dock. Just as an example, some of these are well over 3 hours long. This dude is literally answering questions off the top of his head because he'll do it live as well as record it. About things as obscure as how thick was the plating on this particular ship in this particular era, blah, 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 blah. So I love to listen to smart people do what they do. Aaron Lopresti is my favorite living working artist. So I was delighted when he came in. I, of course, listened to Steven Crowder. Stuart Davies, 125,000 subscribers.
Again, where am I in this list?
Well, let's see if you're there because I subscribe to everybody in this genre. Stuart is a tonalist painter, and he did a video a year and a half ago called "The Illusion of Detail" that went viral. Trying to find it. I mean, I could search it, but it would pull me out of where I'm at, and I don't want to do that. But anyway, he got over 1 million views on that one, and his channel took off. And for those that say this is boring, this guy has a very relaxing, sleepy British voice, and I'm going to show you today how to paint. And he is incredibly popular. So yeah, Turner Vincent is another plein air painter. Plein air means going out and painting on site. That I follow. Viva Fry, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber. Great commentary. Maple Motors, They simply sell classic cars. Fly Daily, this dude plays War Thunder and that's all he does, but I watch him because he's good at it. Graham Nolan, Will from Creators Outlet, Gary Captain Phillips is a YouTube vlogger from the narrowboats of England. Of course, there's a Lasmat, Holly the narrowboat. Mark Feltman is a World War II historian. Celebrating Appalachia. Wonderful, warm, wholesome Appalachian family. I love them. The Daily Wire, Paul Joseph Watson. Lost in the Pond, this guy's hysterical. He lived in Britain, lives in America. He does videos about the differences. Pops, Mr. Sunday Movies. In Deep Geek does a Lord of the Rings. Colin Furs, 11.4 million subscribers. This guy builds insane shit and is personally insane. He built the world's fastest bumper car. He has 6 entries in the Guinness Book of World Record. This homemade hover bike was when not NASA, but the European Space Agency was challenging anyone to create a real hover bike. So he did, with parts from his garage, and it works. JDA, Sketching Scotty is a better artist than all of us put together, and he just does sketches in pen and ink. Freedom Tunes, Frog Leap Studios, amazing musician, plays every instrument there is, and does metal covers of songs. Richness, the Presley Girls are from Celebrating Appalachia. Good Stuff Comicsgate. This girl lives in Norway and vlogs about the life there. Bob Gimlin, he does cryptoids, and it's interesting. Night Shift builds miniatures. This is from when Viva was running for political office. David Finch, of course, is a great artist. I don't know who this guy is. Dark Gift
That's
Comics.
A bastard, a stoned bastard.
Yeah. Get Amped is Andy. Dave Usher. This guy does a painting a day from his home in England, but they're all very small. But he's an impressionist painter and paints in the same style that I paint in. He just does it with oil. I do it with acrylic. Sydney Watson. The Boring Channel. This is how normie I am. This guy cuts grass. That's it. This is a guy I met that's a fellow narrowboat enthusiast, but not a narrowboat owner. They call them gongoozlers. So we are fellow gongoozlers, and he does miniatures. My son, Viva Family, because Viva's wonderful. Artful Souls, this guy is a fantastic artist, Kyle Buckland. We paint very similar. We paint the same stuff, and he is really good. That's my son's band. A friend of mine, Narrowboat Ventures, Rugby Boat Sales, because I'm always shopping for my future narrowboat. Hernandez Design is a California graphic artist and art teacher that I'm a friend of. Jules Guides, walking tours of England, wonderful stuff. Baumgartner Restoration, this guy has really taken off. 1.6 million subscribers. He did not have anywhere near that when I started watching. He is an art conservationist, and he's very good. I'm going to skip that one. It's a personal friend. Ellen Berman is an artist. We paint nothing alike. We don't paint the same stuff. We don't paint in the same method, but we're friends. How It Should Have Ended. And right now, that's it. So this is the stuff a normie subscribes to.
You don't even have me.
I know. Drop your stuff so I can have yours.
I can't. I don't have a wrench.
Well, I'll give you a wrench. Hold on. I got to switch back to...
I'm like, how have you not gotten me yet?
I don't know. If someone shares their stuff and they're not an asshole, I subscribe.
Because I've shared it in some of the ones we've both been in, but hey, one sec.
If I saw it, I would have hit it.
Oh, I believe that. I'm just giving you crap because it's fun.
And I absolutely have no issue with that. All right, let me see. Right now, James is my only moderator. Add moderator. All right, you have a wrench. And while I'm at it, I'm going to give Dark Gift one, whether he wants one or not. There we go. Feel free to share your stuff.
I gave him a wrench. I don't know why he never shows up in my streams anymore.
I am always, by the way,
Stone bastard.
glad to have other artists.
I am very sarcastic. If I make these comments and they actually bug you, just tell me.
I would. I'm the most straightforward person you'll ever meet, but I'm also the nicest person anybody will ever meet. All right, subscribe, ring the bell, boom. I am now
Yay!
subscribed. You're at 940. You're on that race to 1,000.
Yeah.
Right
I
on.
would have probably been there already if I didn't have to take a few months off with everything that happened to me and Richard. I keep every time I start growing, something happens to either me or somebody close to me.
Mm-hmm. Let me comment on this real quick. Frog Leap Studio. Uh, what is his name again? Anthony. Uh, 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 anyway, he's over in either Sweden or Denmark, and this guy, I mean, he plays lead guitar very well, bass, drums very well, violin, wind instruments, and he sings. And he covers all these classic old songs and he'll metalize them. And if they're already a metal song, he'll do an acoustic version of it. And they are awesome. God, what is his name again? Let me. Oh, I can't even look him up.
It's gonna drive you nuts, isn't it?
No, I'll remember it here in a minute. Or Anthony will, because he follows him too. Guy's amazing. Well worth looking at. Yeah, he is funny as hell.
That's not very helpful, though.
He'll put on a complete bunny suit and have his daughter come in, who's a toddler, and jam with him. He is just amazing. I'll throw the link in here. Let me do that. You guys should go give him a listen.
If you guys are fine with me, if you're fine with me dropping all of my freaking links,
sure, absolutely.
I've got a couple others too.
I was going to say, I always support anybody that is a creative sharing their stuff in my chat because I believe in promoting. Now, what is his name? I can't remember it. Leo, somebody or another. It's got a really hard to pronounce left name. My favorite video by him is his version of Play That Funky Music. It's amazing.
I hope you don't mind that.
I'm on no, I don't mind a bit.
Screen.
Yeah, she's grown up. Here. He did do a recent video with her. She has not inherited his musicality yet. He just divorced his wife, who was a bass player in a different band. I don't know what that was about. It could be that he has all these incredibly beautiful women coming in that are great singers to sing with him. There is Leo's channel. And there is Rosetta's merch shop. Is that Redbubble? Okay.
Yeah, because they're one of the ones that'll allow some nipple and nudity in the merch.
Got you.
And I'm shameless about boobs, aren't I, Anthony?
Yeah, one of the first people I met in this community was Saggy Melons Ray. And she gets a lot of hate from a lot of folks, but here's what I know. She got me 20 subscribers in 5 minutes. So she's on the old friend train because anyone who supports me, I support them right back.
Here's another thing. When I launched my merch shop and I did the stream the night I created it to tell people I was making it, she was my first purchase.
You see, there you go. So in gratitude, I shipped her one of my paintings. My cheapest paintings go for between $600 and $700. So I sent her one absolutely free. But now that the economy has crashed, I just about can't give a painting away. So there's that. All right, so
I know that feeling.
Anthony, I'm going to share your stuff. Hold on, let me find it. When I watch on the Fire Stick YouTube, all of my subscriptions are in alphabetical order. They are not on my computer. All right, so Anthony Romano, very talented individual. We know him and love him as Dark Gift Comics.
Bit of a arrogant ass, but we love him.
Plays good music. for the most part.
Oof.
Talented artist. So there's the
Yeah,
link,
that bastard. Subscribe to him.
link to his channel. Feel free to subscribe. Got some other folks popping in now. Glad to have you all. Just hanging out and chilling. So the one other topic I was going to discuss, that I started to discuss, was my new puppy. So I'm going to blank the screen and go grab my new mascot and bring her in here. So let's do this. And
And in the meantime, you guys have to put up with me as I sit here and sort beads while I'm still injured. To be clear, I actually love hanging out with people in the community. I love seeing how other artists work. I don't care if they're a few days into working as an artist, if they're seasoned pros that make me feel like a freaking loser. I want to see what they're doing. I want to see how they're doing it. I want to interact with other artists, and I want to support them any way and any time that I can. Which is also why I want to be getting a show going soon, which is all going to be about getting all of the artists together. But it's also why I take some heat, but I am not so horrible. Not so horrible. I am bloated, I am sore, and I don't care. The computer's also beneath me, so it's giving me a nice double chin. But hey, I think
alrighty then.
Anthony knows how crazy I am, but he also knows how nice I can be.
All right, let me introduce everybody to Moxie. This is Moxie. She is only 6 weeks old, and you can see she's a pretty big puppy. She was born without a tail, so she's naturally bobbed. She's a mutt. She has the body of a bulldog. Yes, she does. You're a pretty baby. Look at that cute little butt. But the face of a puppy St. Bernard. So we said, yeah, we got to take her home. So, there's that new baby. This is Moxie. Moxie, say hi to Comicscape.
Moxie is going to take all the attention from you because, unlike you, Moxie is very cute.
And Tater is my normal studio co-pilot, so she's very jealous.
Pretty little thing. Aww.
She is adorable. And one of the quietest puppies I've ever had. She does not whine and cry. She just chills.
If I went through and showed you my subscriptions, first of all, I have hundreds of them. Second of all, a lot of them are forging guys, and like Irish Mike, who's done things like Damascus Batless and shit like that, and things like that I follow.
Yeah, did you see the guy that made that sword? It won Sword of the Year at whatever competition. Most beautiful sword I've ever seen made. I'll find it and share the link. But I had to clean out my subscriptions because there's only so many hours in the day. So I try to only watch what I can watch or subscribe to what I can watch.
I have all these guys, and I watch them every chance I get. I'll have a lot of them playing in loop in background while I'm talking and on streams and working. I try to be a big supporter to everybody I can. Irish Mike there was a very short-lived series he had, and there's things that happened, and he didn't manage to renew the contract with it. But it went under the show Big Giant Swords. And one of the ones that he did on the show was where he actually made a complex giant dragon sword, which actually had a working flamethrower inside it that would shoot out of the dragon's mouth while he was using it.
That's amazing.
He's fucking badass. He did stuff like making custom work for an ex-javelin Olympian and stuff like that. I fucking love his stuff. I love it to fucking pieces. And I will watch his videos. And the thing is, he's one of the craziest bastards walking around doing crazy shit in the snow, half naked and other stuff. He doesn't give two fucks what anybody thinks of him.
Yeah, I don't typically do snow at all, let alone naked.
Well, he's out. He's up in Martha's Vineyard, so they get some snow, but it doesn't get as cold as other places.
I absolutely detest winter, and my goal.
I detest heat.
My goal is to move to a place where there is no word in the native language for snow.
You would not like where I grew up. You would not like the Black Hills.
I grew up on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, which is subtropical. That's where Paris Island is. That's where Hunting Island is, where they filmed the Tarzan movies and where they filmed Forrest Gump's Vietnam scenes.
Where I was born and where I grew up in the Black Hills, it's not unheard of at all to get completely snowed in and have snow up the buildings. It's not completely unheard of at all to get into negative 50s.
And see, why would anybody want to be in that? Here's always been my theory.
I fucking love the place.
Here's my theory. No matter how hot it gets, you can cool off instantly by jumping into water. But no matter how cold it gets, you can't warm up quickly. It takes a minute. And it's painful. Yes, you can get heat stroke and die, like getting, hypothermia and dying. But I don't care. Snow
I am
is
way
messy.
more susceptible to heat than I am cold.
The air hurts my face. Where I'm at in Georgia is too cold for me. So my goal is to get down to the Caribbean.
I'm the one who doesn't like my house to get over 60 degrees ever.
Yes, the Scots have 421 words for snow, far more than even the Russians have. The Russians just call it the ground.
But I'm serious. I'm the one. I don't even like my house to ever get over 60 degrees.
Well, yeah, I like my house nice and cool.
I like my house in the 50s. I like everything. I like the cold winds outside. I like winter.
I do not.
My eagle work includes trudging out in 0 degree or colder weather through snowbanks and ice fields to go track the eagles.
Nope.
I do that constantly in winter.
Mine includes walking on the beach, watching the girls in bikinis, and drinking Mai Tais. That's my day. Coffee in the morning, margarita in the evening, watching the sun rise on one shore and set on the other. Yeah, that's my life.
But I love
or that I wish I had. Right now, I'm stuck in the foothills of the Appalachians, where it does in fact snow here every year, just enough to prove that nobody here can drive in the snow, and that it makes a mess everywhere. It's gray, it's yucky, it's muddy. Blech. I hate winter.
I love the cold. I hate the heat, and I get so sick so easy from even a little heat.
Yeah, even when I first went in the military, I thought about going in the Army. And somebody said, yeah, if you want to go to North Korea and freeze your balls off. So the Navy recruiter said, hey, want to go to Hawaii? I said, yeah. I didn't go to Hawaii, but still. It influenced my decision.
See, and it's okay. That's another thing that works in this world. Now, see, my culture, my family have been in the mountains there a very, very long time. If you know much about the Black Hills, it's the Holy Land to the Sioux tribe. My culture has always been the guardians of that area. My family has a long history of cold weather, and I am naturally climate. The climate doesn't bother me. I'm relaxed in it. It doesn't. The things you said, I don't feel that way. But the second heat hits me. And what's funny about that is I grew up in a place that's literally the wedge line of a high altitude mountain range and a painted desert. I've been in both extremes a lot as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take the cold every day over the heat.
Well, I've lived in the desert out west. And, we always say to those guys, yes, you have 110 degrees. We have 110 degrees. However, we have the humidity. And those guys say, oh, you always say that. Well, my buddy Scoob lived in Phoenix, Arizona, and we were cutting up about it. And he said, it gets so hot here that blah, blah, blah. And, I come back with the same thing. Yeah, he had to move here for his job. He moved to Charleston, South Carolina. He called me up. He said, I am so sorry. I was wrong. Sweet Jesus, how do you operate in this? Because when it's 110 degrees with 100% humidity, you can barely breathe.
Oh, yeah. And where I'm at here in East Iowa now, I'm between the Cedar River and Mississippi. It is basically once it gets halfway into spring until around now, all that summertime is 90 to 100% humidity.
Mm-hmm.
And every heat spike over 100 is in that humidity. Sometimes we'll go right up to the straight pure 100.
Yeah, we stay here where I'm at now. Typically, we stay in the 90s with
Yeah,
90 plus humidity. But where I'm from in the low country of the Carolinas, you have the onshore breezes. So, yes, it'll get hot and the humidity is atrocious, but go anywhere near the shore and it's refreshing. It feels great. Lay in the
I
sun and bake
hate
all
the
day.
summer here. I hate the summer here. I hate the heat. I hate the humidity. Ugh.
And Anthony is, I think he's in Jersey or
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
Jersey.
Okay. And
Okay, the reason I know that easily is because this goes back to how me and Anthony ended up being friends, was him singing to me. And part of that came back to the fact that my whole life I've had a thing for Jersey boys singing and kind of a crush for musical Jersey boys. And that's how he dragged me into this community, was singing to me and telling me about comic skate in between songs. Fucking bastard.
but you know, I'm sure all of the from Jersey all the way up the New England coast. I'm sure that place is those places are beautiful. The furthest north I've ever been, even though I've been around the world, is no further than Washington D.C. I had to go up there when I was in the military, but I have no desire to go up north. And thank God it was the summer when I went to D.C., so it felt nice.
What's interesting is the Black Hills, even though they're not that far up in the north, actually, because you have North Dakota above them and stuff like that. They actually have some of the coldest temps in the entire country. They're actually colder than most parts of Alaska.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I always wondered England is on a latitude line with Canada, and I always wondered why England does not freeze solid like those places. Well, my British friends informed me.
No, all my British friends always brag, oh, we have such temperatures here. Oh, we don't have poisonous spiders like you do. Oh, we don't have violent animals like that. It's like, oh, fuck you.
Well,
I mean,
they stay warm because apparently, being an island nation, they get a warm piece of the Gulf Stream, and that keeps their climate rainy but warmer than Canada, Alaska, et cetera, et cetera. But I do like what my boy from Lost in the Pond said. You know, in England, they think 100 miles is a long way. In America, we think 100 years is a long time. And we are opposites in that. But yeah.
yeah, I know. I when I do my like drive streams and I just turn on the stream and I let the laptop run beside me and I go out and I let people watch me drive around and track animals and find photos and stuff like that. It blows Richard's mind sometimes when after driving a few hours, he starts talking to me. I'm like, yeah, I've been in this many towns and driven about, I think about 300 miles so far. And he's like, and you can just see like, because he lives in southern England. And
Mm-hmm.
our other friend Will lives up in northern England.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps talking about the fact that that's almost as far as driving to Will.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Gary, on the boat, on the narrowboat Chugabug, talked about, you know, he did a long summer long cruise that was 361 miles of canal. I'm like, are you kidding me? I drive that far just to go to the beach in the same state. So, uh,
oh, when I go down and I do the daily drives over to do the zoo and the stuff and state and stuff, and I go down to the state capitol, by the time I drive there and back, it's usually about 450 miles in a day, plus hiking the zoo, plus doing different things, plus going out to eat, plus running errands, plus. And that's a normal day to me. When I go
mm-hmm,
see my family in the mountains, from where I live here, it's about 900 miles to their house. We do that drive in
mm-hmm,
a day all the time, back and forth.
right.
And I don't even think of that as anything. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I used to love to travel. I have become quite the homebody.
Yeah, I
So,
kind of can't because all my family is far away. And I'm a nature photographer. If I stay home, my work is fucked.
well, I'm a plein air painter, which means I go out on site. But you can literally walk out my front door and find 1,000 things to paint within 20 steps. I live in the bottom of a valley, with a spring running through it and beautiful ancient oak trees and beautiful light. And that's everything to an impressionist. But in this area, there's big lakes, there's rivers, there's little waterfalls, meadows,
I've
anything you could want. So when I go painting, everything a plein air impressionist is after is the atmosphere and light, not so much the subject matter. It's
yeah.
the effect of light and atmosphere on the subject matter. So,
Whereas with what I do, it's about rare animals. It's about scenery and events you don't see other places. It's about
mm,
getting that special angle and just the right lighting of day. It's about all that stuff. In the last few years since I started doing the nature photography, yeah, I do stuff in the Black Hills. I've done stuff up in North Dakota. I've done stuff in Minnesota. I've done stuff over in Illinois, India. I've gone all the way fucking down into Pensacola Beach, all the way up into Cali, down in Vegas, down through Grand
mhm,
Canyon. I have been through, I have been all over the place. I've got
mhm,
pictures, oceanfront, lakes, mountains, everything, because that's what I do. And when I'm stationary, when I'm not traveling, I'm doing daily drives and hikes where I drive around, find places, and then I hike around and find things. And
mhm.
that's every fucking morning.
Well, see, all I have to do is go set up my easel out here in this forest and paint. I've had deer walk up to me. I've had foxes. A coyote thought about it, then thought better of it. And, that's always nice stuff to see. But I think it's because of serving in the military and moving around a lot that I am done with travel. And I'm damn sure I ain't going to camp out. I had to live that way in the military. I'm not going to go do it for free. Give me a comfortable house with climate control and my YouTube and my art, and I'm a happy man.
But see, and that's the thing is, I think our personalities and the type of art we do are very contrary in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
But we both have the same passion overall, which is to do the best art for our style, to be the best person we can, and to support the community. And that's
Hmm.
where we can all find that common ground.
Sure, absolutely.
I am. I have to explore. I have to see new things, and that's partly because that's my conquering. Because I was always told I'd never do these things. I was always told you're never going to be able to physically do this. You're never going to be able to physically do this.
Hmm.
Don't ever try to do anything that takes a lot of hand-eye coordination. There's too much nerve damage in your shoulders, arms, and brain from the seizures.
Hmm.
Um, this is the stuff I've been told my whole life, and so I am absolutely fucking obsessed with. I'm going to do whatever people tell me I can't do.
Hmm. Yeah, when I at 17 years old joined the Navy, true story. I not only couldn't swim, I was terrified of water and I was terrified of heights. I joined the Navy to jump out of helicopters into the water to rescue people and save lives. So there's that. I didn't do those things to overcome them, but I wanted so badly to be a FMF corpsman that I had to do that shit in order to get there. So come here, you. Come here. Okay. There's my little girl. Yes, I know.
I know, and to the guys out there quietly listening to us, I'm sure Anthony is so shocked to hear me say that I'm a stubborn pain in the ass who does what I'm not told not to do. I'm sure he just can't believe that about me, right?
I think he's probably putzing around the house with us just playing in the background.
I don't think he's good. I think if he answers that, it's going to be a smart mouth answer, anyways. So,
But not going to dox him, but James Hayes lives in the same general region that I live in the States. And we were talking about it. So he lives where there's some really beautiful countryside as well. Uh, I love that the town that I'm currently in, they did not clear cut this place and build a town. They built a town inside a massive oak hardwood forest. And so it is just everywhere you look. There, even if you go to the ghettos, there's still beautiful stuff to see. I literally went and painted
mm-hmm.
in a very bad neighborhood a drainage ditch, but the view that I had, it looked just like a little waterfall stream with mimosa trees hanging over it, and the light was beautiful. And I drive around in my truck with all my art supplies. I find a beautiful scene. I don't care where it is. I pull over and I paint it. And So no matter where you go around here, you find something just breathtaking to paint. So I really enjoy that part. I don't have to go far to find something to paint.
See, and that's how I feel when I'm back in the Black Hills with my family.
Hmm.
Dealing there, being where you have Needles Highway, where you have the Bison and Wildlife Loop, you have Rushmore, Crazy Horse, Sturgis, Spearfish Canyon, and the waterfalls, and you know
Hold on,
it,
my dog is
and you're
begging to
right
go
there,
potty.
and to the
My
auto
my
out there.
dog has to go potty. I got to go let her out. Be right
Yep,
back.
that's why I'm switching tactics here. To the audience, whoever's out there. And yeah, when I'm there, it's also about an hour drive to hit into the Badlands, and I'm in a painted desert, which has all kinds of different stuff there, including fossil beds, rock, Fairburn agates, which are beloved in art and geology, are from that area between the Badlands and the Black Hills. I've dug for things. You go to Hot Springs and you have Mammoth Site, which is the only place in the world they've ever found mammoths that were preserved without being fully fossilized. I mean, this is where I grew up, is in that area. And there's so many things that are really unique there that they haven't found elsewhere. You have caves all over the place, crystals, ools, and stuff. You have mountain ranges, and I love it there because there's so much you can get to within an hour drive in pretty much any direction. And yeah, that's home to me. That's absolutely home to me. But it is an interesting thing because over here in Iowa, there are some things that are very unique that I can get photos of. The eagles and the swans are the big thing because of the way they are here. Because the eagles are so thick here in the winter. Oh my God, they're everywhere in the winter. And so there's that. And because this is the main migration path of the trumpeter swans, which are the rarest swans in the world with only a few thousand known in existence, I'm one of the few people who's gotten pictures of one of the rarest swans in the world in big groups, flying around, filling fields, swimming by dozens and hundreds in a lake and stuff like that. How many people are going to get that opportunity? Especially since most people aren't nature photographers. Even if they see it, the most they're going to do is snap a little picture or two with their phone. So yeah, I mean, I've gotten moments, things that most people will never see. But I want to see it all. I want to do it all. I want to find every obscure, weird place, unique thing I haven't seen before, and I want to do it.
So James, that sounds like a fun thing to do. There's a guy here locally. I'm trying to remember his name. Last name is Neil. I can't remember the first name. He made himself a rat rod bike, handmade, everything about it, and he won that coast to coast race about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. Uh, and he went to Sturgis and he invited me to go, and I so wanted to go.
By the way, James, bikers will lovingly tell you that those are trikes because we find it comical to use the same term you would use for a little kid's vehicle. And I'm the same one. I've been wanting the one I want. I know the shop even. There's a shop that does events at Sturgis every fucking year called Las Vegas Trikes. They do custom trikes the same way that the chopper guys do choppers.
I like the ones that are two wheels in front and one in the back. I've seen those. They look so cool.
Spider
so comfortable. Trike. Yeah, they look so comfortable to ride. The last bike I owned was...
I wouldn't care which it is. The problem is I am a biker bitch, fully, through and through, but I can't ride on my own because of my nerve issues. I can't balance the bike.
Well, if you have seizures in Georgia, you can't even have a driver's license.
I don't have them anymore. Seizures themselves healed as a kid. I just have damage that they left.
Oh, okay, I see.
But and so I can drive and stuff, but I don't know how long that'll last since I've developed Parkinson's anyways.
Well, given the part of the country that you're in, James, You ought to do that cruise down 95 and hit all the barrier islands all the way down. That's a good ride. I would
I
I
did.
would go all the way from the Grand Banks, or I mean, I'm sorry, the Outer Banks, all the way down to Pensacola. That's Myrtle Beach, Hilton Head,
Uh,
St.
I
Simons.
was talking about the fact that I did things on Pensacola Beach last year, and I
Right.
took pictures down it. I got okay, yeah, okay. Everybody gives geeks and gamers a lot of crap. Jeremy has always bragged about his Z car, his fancy little tooled to the end expensive sports car he has. Right, that's the head of that channel.
I don't
I,
even
I
know who they are or what they do.
we'll just say it that way. He's the head of that channel.
Hmm.
I got to ride in his Z car down Pensacola Beach last year.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I went down there as this girl with 200 subs to hang out because Gilkey suckered me into doing it.
Hmm.
And I'm sitting there hanging out with a group of them, and he pulls up in that thing, dressed up to the hilt with these slick back, shining aviator glasses and everything. Gets out of his sports car, looks at me, and goes, "I can't believe you drove all this way to meet us losers." And like, what the fuck? What the fuck just happened here? You know, it was this moment of there was no arrogance. There was no, oh, you're here or something. It was, why did you drive all this way for us?
Right, right.
And it was,
There's I think probably the only semi famous person I know that's currently living is the great William Intrican. He's a living artist and he paints in the oh God, what's it called? The something something school. Anyway, I'm going to share my screen, show you guys his work. This guy is amazing. Uh, he paints in egg tempera, which is the hardest thing to paint in. So let's get over here and, you know, these are his works over here. There's old Wild Bill himself. And I am proud to say his son and I are friends. Bill's works typically sell for $10,000 to $25,000 a pop. That's one of his famous ones. This one, the largest art dealer or art collector in the South owns this one. I wish I could
you're
remember.
comic skate for fuck's sakes. You know who Jason Black is, right?
Nope.
Okay, he's around
This
the
is one of his
community.
famous ones.
Okay, he's around the community a lot. Let me pull something up here, okay, so I can show you a couple of his paintings. He's in New Zealand. He's part of Comic Skate, and he's a professional painter. And his fucking stuff is amazing. And he's
Oh,
one of
this
the
is his
ones that's
son.
helped me out with a lot.
That's Robbie, a good friend of mine. Sorry, Robbie, didn't mean to out you on Comic Skate.
So one sec here.
Oh, his son is also a very good painter that learned his father's technique. And why am I blanking on the name of the school? Let me. Uh, there it is. Christina's World.
Give me a moment to get this open, okay?
Andrew Wyeth. Andrew Wyeth taught, or I should say the other way around. William Intrican is a student of Andrew Wyeth, one of the most famous American painters of all times. It is the, let's see, what school of art is it in? I forget the name of it. It's not here. Anyway, this is the most famous painting that Andrew Wyeth ever did. This girl was a neighbor of his. She was paralyzed, and he put her looking longingly back up at her own home. But people don't know she's paralyzed, so to them it looks like she's just lounging there looking back at her home. So anyway, really good painting. Great masters. William Intrican is a genius. Love him to death. And he's a great guy. Super, super guy. Whoops. Closing all the wrong stuff here. There we go. Yeah, he is a he supports my art, my fine art, which I love. He introduced me to my biggest collector. Uh, I can't say the guy's name because he's very private, but his gallery is called La Isla de Dios, and it is the largest private gallery east of the Mississippi, close to 1,000 paintings. And I'm proud to say I have 7 in that collection.
I don't know why is Google making it hard to access his page here for some reason.
Mm.
Because I have this page on my computer and I'm typing it correctly and it's not letting me pull it up.
Maybe he took it down.
No, because I was just looking at it on my actual computer earlier. And he's still active over there. One sec. This is going to get on my nerves fast.
Oh, I'm looking in the wrong place for what I was looking for.
Let me check here. I'm wondering.
So am I. While you're looking, I'm going to go let my little doggy back in. I'll be right back. I have returned.
This is very, very strange.
I wasn't there in the beginning, but I saw how it ended. I can't wait to get my little commercial put together for my comic book. One of the best musicians I know, I've known him all my life, is letting me use the very best song he ever wrote for the music. And I can't wait to get my grubby hands on it.
Anthony, come on, help me out here. You've got to have his link.
Tell me his name again.
Jason Black, he's in New Zealand.
What kind of art does he do?
Realist paintings. I've never had problems pulling his site up before.
Google is not finding him. Jason Black.
This is really very strange because he's still fine over on Twitter, which means he's not been pulled down.
He's on Instagram.
Depends. There's a couple different artists named that.
Well, this guy says New Zealand artist.
Okay.
So we shall see. Yeah, there he is. So, like, I'll share a screen and see if you recognize any of this as him.
It drive me nuts because I try to drum up people to support him, and I've I follow his page all the time. You know.
So does this look familiar?
Yep, that's him.
Okay. Some
Click on one of those.
photography.
Click on no, those are not photos. Those are all paintings.
Oh, I can't. I'm not logged in, so okay.
Uh,
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful.
yeah, those are all paintings.
Beautiful. Something dinged, and it wasn't me.
Yeah, that was my phone.
Yeah, when I started out, I was doing realism, and that got old fast because of the amount of time it takes. And plus, I was just passionate about Impressionism. And I'm talking about old school French Impressionism, Monet, Pissarro, Renoir. So that's what I started doing, fell in love with it, and I've never looked back.
Yeah, he says they're apparently working on the server. He didn't know they were either because he tried to load it himself and can't get in right now. They're working on it.
Oh, okay. We'll
It's like,
invite him to come in here and share his stuff.
I know he's got a fucking
Send him the
website.
link.
I know
Tell
he's
him to come in.
I don't think I've ever actually seen him on a stream, just in chats.
See if he wants to come in. Tell him there's nobody here but us chickens. I am indeed one of the world's greatest living impressionist painters, and I am inviting him onto my comic book stream instead of my fine art page. I don't think I've ever live streamed on YouTube on my fine art. I usually do my live streams of that stuff on Facebook and then move them over. Where's your collar? Okay, there you go. You're a good girl. So I took a 6-hour nap today. I didn't mean to, but I did. And so now I'm wide awake. And so I will probably draw through the night and finish the page I'm working on. Here's one thing I want to know. Anthony, are you there? I have a serious comic book artist question for you. So say hi, something. Let me know you're there.
Oh, please tell me you're not going to have problems signing into that. Oh, fuck's sake.
You just want to be on camera? You just want to be on camera. This is Tater, the original mascot of Paint Slinger Studios. Don't put your little paws down my shirt. Dear her is. Look at that face. Look at that face. Okay, got a question for you, Anthony. Do you use blue line paper by any chance? Oh, okay, down. Goodness, she's a wiggle worm tonight. She's normally a cuddle monster. Oh, she's jealous of the puppy. That's what it is. If you use blue line paper, you'll know that the smallest panels that they have delineated on there, the little bitty ones, do you ever use that smaller size? I am having a hell of a nightmare drawing that small. But the page I'm working on requires 3 small across the top, 2 mediums, and a large in the bottom. So I'm literally, okay. Do you ever draw the small panels? And if so, do they give you a hard time? Or do you draw large, scan it, and shrink it later, which is what I'm thinking of doing. But I started this page and I'm working backwards. I'm going from the bottom panel up. So I go from the easy big panel down to the itty bitty. I don't know if I can do it. I know you have to. I mean, I could draw a portrait in there, but to draw a whole street scene in one of those teeny little, ugh. I think I'm going to draw them large and shrink them in the scan, or scan them and Photoshop them small. There's so many questions I want to ask some of the bigger pros. I literally heard Dan Fraga say that he does, in fact, draw them large and then shrink it. Yeah. Thanks, Anthony. That's reassuring to me that I'm not the only one thinking of that. Do you have a home scanner, Anthony? Because I have to pay for every scan. What I think I'm going to do is
Then
take all the pages that I have right now to the printer and have them scanned. Oh, by the way, that was another question, and I'm going to ask it right now because I meant to ask somebody. I was going to ask Aaron Lopresti because he's pretty good about answering. Are you saving your files, your scan files, as TIFF or BMP bitmap? Very important question. My colorist wanted TIFF, and it's worth the investment. See, I need to do that. You mind telling me how much you paid for yours? Hell, can I just call you on the phone after this and chat for a minute? You saved a TIFF? Okay. All right. Those are big ass files.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, it's 12:30 a.m. Are you shitting me? I got to get back to work. All right, I'm going to wrap this stream up. Rosetta, tell everybody bye.
I guess I gotta say goodbye now.
You found a scanner that will accommodate an 11 by 17 for $160. Are you shitting me? I'm going to call you. Answer the phone. Signing out. Have a good night, everybody. God bless. See you later.